Monday through Friday with Brian Alvarez, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific with Andrew Zarian. And Saturdays, whether Brian mentions it or not, and usually not. Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. It's Jim Valley, the effing king of recovery, back because of the fans. Hope you, United States, had a very happy Thanksgiving with family and friends. I don't know about you, but I'm old, I'm tired, and I'm full of turkey and stuffing. I don't know if you can see this, but if you were on my YouTube channel, you can see that I'm all decorated for the holidays, my Christmas tree, my Christmas elf, and I have my big time wrestling, my Portland wrestling Christmas shirt featuring stars of the 70s, I believe, of Portland wrestling. There's Lonnie Main, there's Ron Bass, Bull Ramos, Jay Youngblood, Jimmy Snuka, Jesse Ventura, and others. You can see this there up on my YouTube. So please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. But we are in a festive mood today, getting ready for another premium live event on my Saturday. Tonight, the Survivor Series. I think War Games. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really kind of added something extra to this year's Survivor Series. Look for drama and intrigue in the men's match. I expect some physicality in the women's War Game match. Becky Lynch returns as the man. Around the same time, Ric Flair says he's going to be back in the WWE fold at the Royal Rumble. I don't think that's a coincidence. Coming up, if you're going to be a sports entertainer, sports entertain. And also, Starrcades are overrated. Survivor Series is better. We'll talk about that and more. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
You're clear.
Thanks.
Hey, Pack Rat. Yeah, you. Are you moving cross country and you just don't know who to call? Call us right now. Listen, you've probably seen one of our containers in your neighborhood, but did you know that we can help you move anywhere in the United States? It's real simple. We'll drop a container off at the location you tell us to bring it to. You pack up your valuable possessions at your leisure. They stay safe right in your home. And when you're ready, call us. We'll come and pick up the container and give you a scheduled date of when your furniture and the other possessions will be at your new home. So if you're moving across country or across town, be a Pack Rat. Join the Pack Rat family. Call Pack Rat right now for your free quote. See y'all later, Pack Rats.
Call 800-569-7208. 800-569-7208. 800-569-7208. That's 800-569-7208. Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. That's 800-634-0482. Airlines have just reduced their prices even more. Book 30 days in advance and save big.
Want the absolute lowest prices on your airline tickets? Then call the Low Cost Airlines Travel Hotline right now. For prices so low, we can't publish them anywhere. The only way to access our low rates and save up to 70% is to call. Save hundreds on your vacation tickets by calling right now. You can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
And today's show is brought to you by Máscaras para los Casa, wrestling masks for the home. All the style of the masks you wear in the ring, all the comfort you need for the home. Made of the softest, stretchy material so you can wear them around the house or slide them on easily as you answer the door for your son, who already knows what you look like. Máscaras para los Casa, perfect for eating Thanksgiving dinner, answering the door, greeting your estranged son, or getting assaulted by your son's goth girlfriend with a broomstick. It doesn't matter that we've all seen your face for years. Wear wrestling masks for the home. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I'm covering it. By the way, sponsors are just blowing up on this show, which is good. Because as we know, with all podcasts, everybody loves lots and lots of sponsorships. So we'll have another one coming up later in the show. So stand by for more sponsorships here. Wrestling Observer Live. Hey, there's a new Portland WrestleCast up right now at WrestlingObserver.com. I spend about an hour talking with author and Northwest historian Mike Rogers. He's got a new book out, Excitement in the Air, Volume 3. It's got some new interviews that you've never read before. People like The Grappler, also ELP, who, wrestles originally from Vancouver, Canada. So it's available on Amazon. You can check it out now. And coming next week, part 2 of my conversation with Mike Rogers. So 2 hours of Northwest conversation on the Portland WrestleCast. Yet another reason to be a subscriber to F4W Online, WrestlingObserver.com. Hey, I want to wish the best to Randy Orton, who is reportedly recovering from back fusion surgery. And now think about for a second how safe Randy Orton has been in the ring during his career and the toll that took on his body. I mean, he always looked in perfect physical condition, but his back was a mess. And just, remember that. Pro wrestling is a dangerous profession, even just doing regular night after night after night. You don't have to do crazy stuff for it to take a toll on your body or for it to be dangerous. So always have respect for wrestling and wrestlers and what they go through. Friday night on Smackdown, Becky Lynch returns. Very short, sweet, good opening segment. She returns a great reaction as the Man, which I mentioned is interesting because Ric Flair claims he owns the copyright to the Man. And you remember for a while she was big time Bex, and many people speculated it was because of maybe copyright concerns over the Man. And now Rick is back, seemingly in the fold. SmackDown World Cup semifinal, Santos Escobar defeated Butch. Then they did a Bray Wyatt segment Bray Wyatt, blah, 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 it's me, blah, 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 blah. It's getting a little redundant. Anyway, lights go out. Uncle Howdy comes on the screen. Highlights of Wyatt's career. And then with a tear in his face, Uncle Howdy told Wyatt to wake up. Backstage, Megan Morant spoke with LA Knight, talked about being attacked last week. He didn't believe Wyatt's denial. Marches off in LA Knight fashion. Later on Smackdown, we come to a backstage segment. LA Knight pinned up against a metal door. And apparently someone shoved a bunch of those giant equipment boxes into him. But we don't know who. People were yelling to get help. To help once again an injured and attacked LA Knight. The Viking Raiders defeated Hit Row. And now their valet is known as Valhalla. Sarah Logan is Valhalla. And for those who don't know, Valhalla is heaven in Norse mythology. But I don't know that it's the best name because it's heaven, sure. But if you study any Norse mythology, heaven has 540 doors, which 800 men can pass through at once. And look, I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying maybe Valhalla may not be the best name. Michael Cole talked about Dominic Mysterio attacking Ray on Thanksgiving. That viral video's got millions of views. I think it's the most popular WWE video, even more popular than Logan Paul's. It's a great scene. I mean, it was great. They showed the footage of Dominic and Rhea showing up at the Mysterio home for Thanksgiving and all the damage they did. It's been great. Dominic Mysterio has really flipped the script on everybody who was tired of him. SmackDown World Cup semifinal, Ricochet defeated Braun Strowman. Suddenly, Gunther and Imperium ran out, caused a distraction. Ricochet took advantage, used a crucifix, but did pin Braun Strowman 1, 2, 3. Imperium attacks Braun Strowman. Ricochet runs back, saves Braun. They raise each other's hands. They're buddies. I'll talk about that in a second. You know, Sami Zayn backstage about to enter the Bloodline locker room. Kevin Owens approached him. Zayn told him to leave, but Owens gave him some advice. He said the Bloodline would eventually turn on Sami, and he told Zayn to strike first. And the fans could see it, but those two couldn't. Jey Uso was secretly listening behind a cracked door in the background. And after Owens left, Jey approached Sami Zayn, asked him if he talked to anyone. Sami lied. Then he entered the locker room. Jey was furious. Interview with Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi. Suddenly Ronda and Shayna jumped them. They slammed Rodriguez's arm into a giant road case lid. Again, those giant boxes come into play on SmackDown. Rodriguez screamed in pain, fell on the floor. They come back. They say that Rodriguez was rushed to the hospital, possibly with a broken arm. Ronda and Shayna in the ring, taunting the fans, taunting Shotzi. So they end up doing a handicap match. Ronda and Shayna versus Shotzi. And of course, no surprise, Rodriguez comes out. And then she taps to Ronda, but she showed a lot of guts, a lot of courage. We've seen that many, many times. And then for the War Games advantage, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus defeated the Usos. All kinds of chaos around ringside. The Usos, Sammy, Kevin Owens, all kinds of things. A lot of people are speculating about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And certainly, probably tonight, we'll see some drama and the latest chapter However, I think it's way too soon to put Sammy and Kevin Owens together. In my opinion, I think you save it all the way until WrestleMania. And here's why. If Sammy and Kevin win the tag titles at WrestleMania, it's a great story, but it's kind of the end of the chapter. Not that it matters a great deal, he's PLE era, but if Sammy and Kevin chase the title after WrestleMania, gives you a reason to keep watching. We'll talk about Rampage, talk about Survivor Series, and if you're gonna be a sports entertainer, sports entertain. It's Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
You're clear.
Right behind my back.
Have you written a book? You can become a published author with Dorrance Publishing, the nation's oldest publishing services company. Countless authors have trusted Dorrance for nearly 100 years to bring their book to the market. Our professional team will edit your text, design your book pages, and create an appealing, eye-catching custom cover. Plus, our authors benefit from a custom book promotion marketing campaign that makes your book available where people buy books, like Amazon and brick-and-mortar bookstores. So make this free call right now to claim your free author's guide to publishing. Don't wait another day. Take one step closer to realizing your dream of becoming a published author and seeing your name in print. You've already written a book, so the next thing to do is make this free call right now to Dorrance Publishing and get your free guide to publishing. Call right now.
800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. That's 800-485-6003.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. If you've had a revision or removal surgery of a hernia mesh implant after 2008, pay close attention to this message. Hernia mesh manufacturers have recalled some of the mesh material that may have been used in your surgery due to high failure rate. The FDA has even blamed the recalled mesh material for some of the worst of the health issues reported by doctors and patients. If you've had 2 or more hernia surgeries for the same issue and you're having severe complications, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. So please call now.
800-817-2968. 800-817-2968. 800-817-2968. That's 800-817-2968.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-913-9739. 800-913-9739. 800-913-9739. That's 800-913-9739.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Got another sponsor here. Are you a wrestler who's been assaulted or injured by a box backstage? Do you know that behind parking lot kidnappings, giant equipment boxes backstage are the #1 cause of trauma for professional wrestlers? That's why you need pro wrestling box insurance. For just the price of picture money, you can get protection against giant backstage equipment boxes. Every day, pro wrestlers are injured by giant boxes and then have to wrestle with an injury that same night. Pro Wrestling Box Insurance will cover expenses for box-related injuries that can last up to an entire TV show. Expenses like a trainer rubbing your shoulder for one TV segment. Income you lost for missing the opening 3 minutes of a wrestling match. And all the tape you need to cover your torso. Pro Wrestling Box Insurance will also cover the ambulance ride halfway to the medical facility and then back again to the arena. Pro Wrestling Box Insurance does not cover tables, ladders, or chairs. Pro Wrestling Box Insurance. Forget good hands. You're in soft shakes. I'll tell you what, I am making so much money with these sponsors. It's incredible. I see why all these podcasts have so many sponsors, because you make all the money and then it's the best. When they go on for like 8 minutes of sponsors, everybody loves that. And then when they're not skippable, the best. Survivor Series, the Bloodline, it's going to be taking on the Brawling Brutes, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens. There's going to be a lot of fun in this match, I think. Traditionally, war games are about violence. There was the time where Sting didn't know, the good guys didn't know if Sting was going to turn on them or not. That led to the Crow Sting. That was one time where we saw a war games that had more drama than violence. And I suspect we'll see more drama with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and all the pressures that they have. More drama than violence in this match. And I think the women's War Games match with Bianca, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Mia Yim, and Becky Lynch taking on Damage Control, Rhea Ripley, and Nikki Cross. I think we'll see a lot of physicality. We'll see some amazing spots from Bianca. Asuka is always super, super creative. Rhea Ripley's a beast. Bayley's always up for something. Io Shirai, the genius of the sky. So there's a lot of different components that can make this a great match if they choose it to be. SmackDown Women's Championship, Ronda against Shotzi. United States Championship, Seth Rollins against Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. AJ Styles against Finn Balor. I think this is going to be an entertaining show. I expect we could see an extra match or maybe an added Bray Wyatt segment, maybe to fill some extra time. And it's going to be fun to watch and see which direction WWE goes heading into the Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania. But this show to me doesn't feel like it really has any stakes. If Roman loses, sets up the Royal Rumble. If Sammy hesitates, but he caves and helps the Bloodline win, it makes for some fun episodic television, but does it really matter in the big picture? Same thing with the women. Bianca can lose and set up somebody, Rhea Ripley or whomever. Damage Control can lose. They've lost before. It doesn't really matter. Seth Rollins, he's bulletproof. With this goofy character, you could pretty much do anything to Seth. He can lose. It won't matter. Maybe we're seeing the next evolution in Austin Theory, whether he wins or loses. There's no stakes, but it will be an entertaining show. I don't think it's worthless or anything. I do wish that WWE would just alternate men's and women's gimmick matches every year. I feel like it waters down having 2 War Games, 2 Royal Rumbles on the same show. It's like there's an opening match, War Games, there's a main event, War Games. And depending on the storylines decides on who gets who, but I would rather have one main event Royal Rumble, whether it has men or women. Same thing with the War Games. Just alternate. I'm all for equality. I just want to keep the gimmick matches special. AEW Rampage, a good match for the Ring of Honor World Titles. FTR beat Top Flight. Darby Allin beat Anthony Henry. Hikaru Shida defeated Queen Aminata. And then in the main event, the Dark Order was defeated by Roosh, the Butcher, and the Blade. And in the beginning, there was no number 10. So it was a handicap match. And then a few minutes later, on the ramp, -1, and Evil Uno come out, and they found 10. 10 hits the ring, faces off with Roosh, and suddenly he drops Johnny Hungy with a lariat. Then they do the bullhorns to John Silver for the finish. So 10 has turned, Preston Vance has turned. And I gotta say, -1 was brilliant in his reactions, his head shaking, his head down, his body language. You could see that he was just crushed. And the show ends with 10 untying his mask and throwing it down at a kneeling -1. And he walks behind -1 and he stands with Roosh and his crew holding up their hands triumphantly as -1 is holding his hands in the mask in sorrow. You know, Vince McMahon always never really liked masked wrestlers because he talked about how your money is your face and your reactions in wrestling. It's through your facial reactions. They can see your pain or your bloodlust or whatever you have on your face. And I gotta say, -1, even though his face is covered by a mask, his expressions were brilliant. It can work. The other thing on Rampage, Chris Jericho, they did a segment where they announced that he will defend the ROH World title against Claudio. But if Claudio loses, he has to join the Jericho Appreciation Society and become a sports entertainer again. Obviously, Claudio was in the WWE, so he was a sports entertainer in theory. And I like the idea of sports entertainers in AEW. AEW is pro wrestling, and WWE is sports entertainment. Granted, things have become more wrestling oriented in the Triple H era. But I just don't think that the Jericho Appreciation Society has done enough to be sports entertainers. They're just loudmouth, arrogant heels. They need to lean into the things that wrestling fans hate or associate with sports entertainment. They need to have jobs as gimmicks. They need to set up silly situations and skits. They need to go all in this slyly making fun of WWE. And the baby faces in AEW, the wrestlers, eventually need to come out on top by the fact that they've seen so many of these tropes, these sports entertainment cliches before. You know, Daddy Magic needs to come out with a cake and be all proud of himself that he knows what he's going to do to the baby face. And we know what he's going to do to the baby face, but it backfires on him. And the wrestler outsmarts him because we've seen it done 1,000,000 times in sports entertainment. Things like that need to happen with the Jericho Appreciation Society. Also, it needs to look different. It needs to be overly produced. When the Jericho Appreciation Society comes out, there should be like a different camera filter and a ton of graphics on the screen. Maybe even some of those 3D rendered graphics like we see on Smackdown. And also, if you want to protect the JAS members, maybe just have them introduce a new character each week to feed to the baby faces, a veritable village people of wrestlers. I want to see props, puppets, skits, food fights during Thanksgiving. Give me sports entertainment. Coming up next, is Starrcade overrated? I think so. Talk about that and more. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Call InventHelp now for free information on how to get started today. InventHelp provides invention services.
Sorry, you're clear. I forgot to say it.
No problem.
We have representatives nationwide who will explain the InventHelp process step by step. Over 10,000 patents have been secured through InventHelp's patent referral services. Our services include professional materials needed to showcase your invention, and 3D animation and prototype modeling to help you demonstrate your idea. Get down to the details of your idea with a technical drawing. The InventHelp Data Bank includes thousands of companies who have agreed to review new ideas. We've been helping inventors since 1984. Let's help you next. Take advantage of the opportunity to get started today.
Call 1-800-356-7308. That's 1-800-356-7308. Again, 1-800-356-7308.
Moments like seeing my son's team cheer him on mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative NBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Remember in the beginning, when you first started to build a life for you and your family, you never imagined it would come to this. Instead of living your dreams, you're living with debt. In fact, it's smothering you. Now there's a way you can take back control with one simple call. If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you qualify to receive a free, no-obligation consultation on how to get rid of that debt for good. Call the Debt Helpline now. We work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. One simple call is all it takes to get the ball rolling to a debt-free life. Stop living with debt and start living your dreams. Call the Debt Helpline now.
800-943-2153. 800-9.
Broadcasting Network.
Wrestling Observer Live, Jim Valley. Hey, thinking of earlier this week, on Dynamite, Jake Hager and Orange Cassidy had a brilliant, I thought, comedy match. One of the best comedy matches in a long, long time. And Jake Hager becoming obsessed with his purple bucket hat could be something you could do with sports entertainment. The announcers saying that sports entertainers value their costumes, but wrestlers value winning matches and titles and just things like that. But I just think that the Jericho Appreciation Society should play into every WWE cliche they can think of. And I don't know if it's because they're afraid of burning bridges or what, but hopefully if Claudio loses, they can do more things like that. Some people in the chat saying, yeah, Jake Hager could be Repo Man. But that would be funny to have somebody in like a burglar mask and very graphically tiptoe out and try to steal something. And the wrestler just going, what are you doing? And then say, it works in sports entertainment. Just things like that to mock. Lean into it. If you're going to do it right is what I think. And hopefully if Claudio loses, we can see more sports entertainment tropes. If you're on social media and you follow any wrestling, you probably see people or groups that post about dates in pro wrestling history. And no surprise, the other day I saw one for I forget which one, the Starrcades that happened on Thanksgiving Day. And I remember as a kid thinking how cool it would be to watch wrestling on pay-per-view. Turn on your television, Thanksgiving Day, and just gorge on wrestling instead of Detroit Lions football. I lived in a small town growing up, and we didn't get pay-per-view. So the first Starrcade, has the legendary Piper Valentine dog collar match, and it's still brutal today. Steamboat and Youngblood winning the titles from Sergeant Slaughter and Don Kernoodle in a cage. Thunderous ovation, legendary match. Ric Flair winning the title, the Flair from the Gold. Harley Race. Gene Kaninsky, not a great referee. Not the best Ric Flair match. Still a Thanksgiving tradition. Starrcade 84. Dusty and Flair. Dusty finish with the Joe Frazier blood. Just kind of a nothing card. Starrcade 85 is another Flair and Dusty match. Dusty finish. Everybody on this show bleeds. One of the bloodiest cards top to bottom. I just can't. I can't with Starrcade 85. Starrcade 86, legendary, biggest buy rate, biggest money-making Starrcade for years. The scaffold match, but scaffold matches are terrible. Everybody knows that. The Rock and Roll Express versus the Andersons, probably the best match on the show. Starrcade 87, Ric Flair and Ron Garvin, don't even. After that, you've got various future shocks, collision courses, battle bowls. Starrcade 93 rather. Starrcade 93, Flair and Vader. Maybe Ric Flair's greatest one-night performance. Vader was right there. And it was the backup plan. Something they did because of the whole Sid Arn stabbing incident. That Starrcade was supposed to coronate Sid as the world champion. Arguably, the best match in Starrcade history was something they threw together, which really is sort of an indictment of WCW booking. Starrcade 94, Hogan versus Beefcake, The Butcher. Sting versus Earthquake. Do I have to go any further? Starrcade 95 was okay. It's getting better. Starrcade 96, Ultimo Dragon, Dean Malenko, Liger and Mysterio, and the star power of Hogan and Piper, and Piper won. Starrcade 96, not bad. Starrcade 97, the biggest Starrcade of all time. Sting and Hogan was a mess. You know why. WWE, I think on the network or somewhere I watched a show. Top 10 matches in Starrcade history. Hogan and Sting should have been number 1. It was like number 3, which would show exactly how bad it is. The most successful match in WCW history, Starrcade history. And it was so bad, even WWE in kayfabe ranked it number 3. Had the match even been somewhat passable, it should have been an easy number 1. Not only that, Starrcade 97, such an important card. Kevin Nash sat in a hospital bed to avoid losing to Giant for reasons we still don't know today. Starrcade 98, Goldberg loses. By 99, WCW was a mess. So was Starrcade. 2000, the last Starrcade under WCW, it does have that amazing ladder match, a great ladder match, with 3 count, defeating the Young Dragons and Evan Courageous and Jamie Noble. But that's about it. I mean, I know that WrestleCade is happening this weekend, sort of the spiritual successor to Starrcade and all your North Carolina wrestling memories. And it's a great event for fans in the Mid-Atlantic region. But when you really look at it and think about it, Starrcade is the most overrated big event, maybe a most abused big event in pro wrestling history. I'm sorry, but it is. There are very few good matches. There are very few satisfying main event finishes. Say what you want about WWE, but at their WrestleMania, they 9.5 times out of 10, give you the satisfying finish. In the beginning with Starrcade, you got Dusty Rhodes finishes. Then it moves on to the Hulk Hogan finishes. Then the NWO finishes. Then the Vince Russo finishes. Compare to Survivor Series. Look at the early Survivor Series. Are there 5-star matches? No. But the tag team format means the matches tend to be faster paced. You at least get movement and action. Survivor Series 93 had the first Bret and Shawn world title match on pay-per-view. Did Starrcade ever have Chuck Norris? Survivor Series 94 did. For every gobbledygooker, there's an elimination chamber. Even Brock Lesnar versus Bryan Danielson was a great underdog storytelling match before Bryan finally succumbed to Brock in 2018. Yeah, some of the matches for trophies and brand supremacy never got any traction. But you could argue that Sting, making his WWE debut, was treated better at the 2014 Survivor Series than at the 97 Starrcade. And what about that performance by Dolph Ziggler? Maybe better than some of his world title performances. Even when the matches aren't great, look at Survivor Series 98. One night of a great storyline, maybe the greatest one-night storyline that weaves an arc through a pay-per-view in wrestling history. Not great wrestling, no real rewatch value, but the first time watching it, if you watched it live like I did, it is so compelling. The Rock crowned the corporate champion with the storyline with Mankind. Brilliant. Look at Starrcade that same year, 98. Kevin Nash beat Goldberg. Look that year, what one heel win did for one company and one heel win did for the other. Overall, I think Survivor Series are underrated when it comes to performances. Sure, sometimes the consequences don't have long-term effect because it can be overshadowed by the Royal Rumble or the December pay-per-view or the Royal or the Road to WrestleMania. But Survivor Series is better than Starrcade. Looking back, Starrcade deserved to lose. Go back and look. Tell me if I'm wrong. And no disrespect to people like Piper and Valentine and their dog collar performance, and Steamboat and Youngblood and Slaughter and Kernoodle. The legend of Starrcade was pretty much built off their reputations and carried it for another, 13, 17 years. Overall, go back and look. Someday, you just want to sit around. I was in the mood to watch some old school wrestling. And I was like, ooh, Starrcade. Then I looked and I went, no, thank you. There's a lot of filler and there's not a lot of payoffs. Battle Bowl. Some random drawings. It's supposed to be your WrestleMania. You build to big feuds all year, not a random tag team lottery that nobody cares about and nobody talked about again. Dude, if I'm lying, I'm dying. If you think I'm wrong, tell me. I'm not saying there's not a few highlights here and there, but overall, Starrcades suck. Give me your thoughts. It's Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Looking at my YouTube chat right now, you can go to Jim Valley on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe. I put it up live and free each and every Saturday when I'm doing Wrestling Observer Live. So people talking about sports entertainment, that it's a shame Ralph is no longer with us. Jericho should bring out somebody like that. He should do a Ralphus 2 for sports entertainment. Also, he could come out dressed as a hockey player like the Goon. But I really think they need to really lean into the whole sports entertainment. Somebody else in the chat wants to talk about Kenny Omega and his promo for his match with Will Ospreay at the Tokyo Dome. And I think that it looks to me, the way Kenny was talking and then the way Ospreay's talking, that Ospreay's going to be defending New Japan. Kenny was talking about he was a bigger star and New Japan's nothing without him, and he's coming back to help New Japan. And Ospreay's like, I was here during the tough times. So it sounds to me like Ospreay's going to be the baby face. So they're really going to help Ospreay get to that next level instead of a heel as a top baby face. Now, I don't know what Kenny's plans are, but with that sort of thing, it would make the most sense for Kenny to win the U.S. title and then Ospreay to chase it and eventually overcome and get the fans really, really behind him, really build up the chase and the desire and really help Ospreay. That's what it seems like to me. But we'll see come January 4th, won't we? Anyway, follow me on Twitter at Jim Valley, and do me a favor, keep an eye on the Squared Circle in Reddit. I'm scheduled to do, at some point, they reached out to me to do an AMA, but we haven't picked a time yet. So watch Squared Circle on Reddit, and hopefully we'll do that soon. Anyway, it's Jim Valley. Love you all. Appreciate you all for listening. We'll be back next time, as always. You know why? Because of the fans.
All right, man. Have a good week. I'll talk to you next week, okay?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hang in there.
Take care.
We are learning more about the 6 victims in this week's shooting of a Walmart in Chesapeake, Virginia. 16-year-old Fernando Chavez.
There we go. All right. There it is. Okay. Can you guys hear me or not? I can't tell. Does Brian not interact? Oh, good. Okay. I don't know who. I don't really pay attention to moderators or anything like that, so I don't know. All I know is I got a tweet from the Squared Circle Twitter, and I've been messaging them, and I didn't have a Reddit login, and all right. Anyway, I didn't have a Reddit login, so they gave me a login. I've always lurked Reddit. I've never posted before. And they had me pick a time. I said, well, what times are good? They told me after Dynamites. So I figured, let's do it this Wednesday so I could promote it today. But they haven't verified it yet. So I don't know what we're doing. So at some point, there's supposed to be one as far as I know. Unless I was being trolled. I don't think I was, because they set up an actual thing for me. I don't know. So I'd appreciate it if you guys show up for the AMA, because I don't think there'll be that many people. So I know, I'm so tired of Twitter starring Elon Musk. I'm really tired of him as the main character on Twitter. I'm just like, Okay, already. We get it. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Some people think he's standing up for free speech. I tend to think it's something completely different. But we're getting to a point in the world where the rest of us are at the mercy of these billionaires because they control so much wealth, and it's really getting tiresome. That I don't know. It's getting tiresome that they have a fit and wreck the economy. They don't make enough. It's like, don't you have enough money already? I'm not against making money or capitalism, but it just feels like everything keeps buying everything. I saw an article the other day that Apple could buy Disney, and I'm just like, is Apple just going to end up buying everything? Or Amazon end up buying everything? It just feels like, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not against people making money, but it just feels like the rest of us who just want to live a regular life are kind of, our lives are turned upside down all the time. But I don't know. I've been to Dubai. You want to feel poor? Go to Dubai. Dubai is crazy bananas. It's got a lot of cool theme parks and cool architecture and all kinds of stuff. Dubai is nutty, but yeah, I bought a Google phone, but I don't think they own a lot of stuff too. So, like I said, don't think I'm like against people making money. I mean, you gotta contribute and have a job and all those things. It's just, there's just this, I'm against extremes, I guess. That there's a point where there's no accountability, and I don't like. So anyway, what do you guys think about wrestling? Are you guys excited? It feels like this was a fun week for wrestling, but not a ton to talk about. There were not a lot of things to talk about. So. Are you liking, by the way, the sponsorships? I feel like the sponsorships are a big hit. I don't know. That's a good question. I should talk more Stardom. You're right. The problem is, a lot of times, here's the deal. Here's the thing with this show. On Saturday, people tend to listen to it at a time shift time. So a lot of times it's hard to preview Survivor Series or preview Stardom, because by the time people listen to it, it's old news. But at the same time, there's a live show. So it's like I kind of have two masters to serve. And by the time Saturday comes, usually a Stardom show is either old news or it's happening. Or they just did a regular show on their tour, just another night at the matches for Stardom. So it's hard to fit Stardom in, but as we get closer to Tokyo Dome, we should probably talk about Tam Nakano and talk about her and Kyrie. We should, I don't know, but there are things to talk about in Stardom. So I don't. Anything else exciting? Yeah. Yeah, Stardom is great, man. The one thing I like um, is with Stardom, they're together as a troupe. And you can tell there is a troupe mentality because they all know how to work together. Whether it's a battle royal or, someone's wrestling this person tonight, another person the next night. They know how to integrate things beautifully. And I just think that sort of circus troupe, for lack of a better term, mentality really goes a long ways in differentiating Stardom from a lot of the men's promotions. So, no, Stardom is, I think that I voted Rossi Ogawa in I think I voted him in the Hall of Fame. And maybe I'll vote him Booker of the Year. I don't know. Rossi Ogawa is a pretty smart guy. Fumi and I talked more about Stardom. We tend to do that a lot more on Pacific Rim. That's kind of the thing. That's the other thing with this show is I don't want to Bigfoot anything Fumi and I do too. I don't know. I think Tony Khan, no booker is going to be perfect. Triple H has kind of shown some stuff. Vince, obviously. I just think you do it for a long period of time. It's sort of like, like in music, they say that everybody's got one hit song in them, or the debut album is always great because they've been working on a debut album their entire life. So now it's a hit, and they've got 9 months or a year to come out with something equally as good as their life's work with their debut album. And I think that Tony Khan still has a lot of great ideas. But I think that he's left his honeymoon phase and moved on to his new phase. I think that I just wish Ring of Honor would hurry up and spin off to whatever platform it's going to have. That's what I wish. I mean, I will, to be fair, I will probably watch Ring of Honor when it spins off. But I would just like to see more AEW talent. But I don't know. That's just kind of my thought. I don't know how Tony Khan does everything. To be busy with American football and then soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, and then wrestling. I mean, I think it seems like he's leaning more on like Tony Schiavone and other people. He's gonna have to. But I mean, I think he's a good guy. I think he's a very nice person. I mean, you think about a lot of people wouldn't have jobs if it wasn't for Tony Khan, and wouldn't have the opportunities that they have now. I mean, where would Darby Allin be? Darby Allin is great, obviously. But with WWE, he's very small. Would WWE look beyond his size? I don't know. They just had to do something. I mean, the belt stealing thing with Nyla Rose was fine because it's not a main event angle. That wasn't a main event match. It was just something to kill time. You know what I was going to talk about this week? But it turned out to be nothing. was Bow Wow. That doesn't need to be happening. I agree. Yeah, Darby could be in GCW. That's true. He could be in GCW, might be bigger if it wasn't for AEW. We'll see with Jade. She needs something. She needs to get in there. She feels like she's been siloed in her own world for a very long time, and she needs to kind of integrate more. But I don't know who they're saving her for. I don't know. Yeah, she needs to do something else. Jade, I mean, you could do angry Jade. She lost her belt. She could be more of a Karen because she lost her belt and very indignant. There's a lot of stories you could tell with Jade losing her title. Maybe even better stories if you break her down. Yeah, Statlander, if she can stay healthy. I like Willow quite a bit. Willow's almost like the opposite of Jade, the anti-Jade. Willow might be a choice. Yeah, she'll probably be ROH. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, anything else exciting? Defy's got a show. Is that on Fight tonight? That'll probably be a good show for the Undisputed Defy Championship. That'll probably be good. Is that on pay-per-view or Fight TV? Yeah. You mentioned Powerhouse Hobbs. He's got a future. There's a lot of young talent. The future in wrestling is very, very broad. So that's the one good thing. On the Elite Punk thing, here's what I think. I think that the Elite took the head of legal to Punk's dressing room, which to me says they were going to have a conversation. You don't go to a fight with the head of legal. So I think that shows they brought in HR. They were going to have a conversation and settle things. Maybe Punk was just having a bad night. I think just Punk should have just played along. I don't know why. If he was working at that press conference or just he was frustrated and let it all hang out. He thought they were stabbing him in the back, but you praise publicly and you criticize in private. He should have taken that stuff backstage. So I guess Punk was in the wrong, but to me it feels like if they all sat down and Punk apologized, and they kind of did maybe we, who knows, whatever. They make amends with Punk for whatever they need to do, and maybe they could work together. In the past, that would have happened. Kenny Omega strikes me as a guy who doesn't like to fight. If you hear his comments with Jim Cornette. You know, he talks about Cornette being toxic or things like that, but he doesn't really, you know, he doesn't call Cornette names or cut promos on Cornette. Yeah, he's a pacifist. I'm not saying the guy's perfect or anything like that, but he doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to want to fight. And if he walked into my room, I would suspect we were going to have a conversation and not a fight. But I don't know. Sometimes, you know, we all lose our temper. We all snap. And sometimes if you do that, maybe if you all apologize and find a higher ground or find peace in it, sometimes I find that after you fight with someone at that level, you can become, you know, better friends. But obviously that's not going to happen when everyone's competing for a top spot in wrestling. But it's unfortunate, I guess, is really the only thing is it's very, very unfortunate because AEW could use Punk's star power right now and matchups during the road to WrestleMania. I think the whole thing with Punk hurt the coronation of MJF. It didn't draw as big a buy rate as it should have. Granted, I think the way it was booked didn't help. But yeah, use your indoor voice. It just, yeah, it's unfortunate they lost money. They lost momentum. Everybody lost something. Punk lost something. The Elite lost something. Ace Steel lost something. The dog lost its teeth, apparently. Tony Khan lost something. You know, the only person who gained from it maybe was WWE and Triple H. But, so no, it's unfortunate. Maybe someday in the future, they can all talk and put it behind them. Maybe. If Brett and Sean can do it, maybe that can happen someday. Yeah, I agree. If Punk is half the worker that he thinks he is, he'll do business. I mean, that's what wrestling is. You put it aside to make money. I mean, that's what Honky Tonk Man did, cutting promos on people. So then he could wrestle them in a match and sell tickets. That's what a lot of people have tried to do. You cut a shoot promo and sell tickets. I don't know what Punk was doing, but like I said, it would, you know, maybe they can put it past him and work it out. I mean, I've said it before. I like Punk. I'm not the biggest Punk fan. I like him. I respect what he's accomplished, but I don't think he's like the greatest like some people do. But, you know, it'd be nice if he didn't have a tarnished legacy. It'd be nice. I don't know. It'd be just nice if it could all work out, but who knows? But that's not the way the real world works out sometimes, is it? So, did I answer your question? Is that the answer? Yeah. It would seem like if they wanted to put it past him. That's why, last week, if you listen to the show, that's why last week confused me, because MJF kept using Punk phrases. And if you didn't know better, you'd think Punk was coming back. or they're laying the groundwork for Punk to come back. But I specifically texted Dave and said, Dave, are you sure this whole thing isn't a work? And he goes, no. He goes, Punk hates AEW this week. So, and various people in AEW. So, yeah, I mean, they're in Chicago. They got to do something. You can't just not acknowledge it. Although it wasn't as overwhelming as I thought. But then again, if you're a big CM Punk fan, are you going to buy tickets just to boo the Elite? Are you going to give them money? I would just think you're not going to buy tickets. But I mean, they clearly had it planned out. The cameraman had a nice close-up on that bite. So those camera shots don't happen by accident. I don't know. We shall see what happens. I mean, if this is all a work, let's just say it is. I would save CM Punk coming back for right after WrestleMania. That's what I would do. Because right now, there's so much focus on WrestleMania. I wouldn't try to compete. I still do good shows. I do good, solid shows each and every week. You know, keep the storylines moving, do whatever. But if you do indeed have Punk in your back pocket, I'd save that for after WrestleMania. That's what I would do. Because if they've got Cena, if they've got Rock, they've got Logan Paul. I mean, if they're throwing the kitchen sink at this year's WrestleMania, then I would wait on CM Punk. Now's not the time for it, so it'd be something, though. I think he's done a good job with booking, but yeah, we're very cynical as wrestling fans as far as things being a work, not being a work. I mean, I know that wrestling has affected the way I look at politics, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, any of the big flamethrowers in politics. It's all, those things are, harken back to wrestling and the carnivals and the circus. But I don't know. Oh, who knows what Cody Rhodes could come back to AEW. Cody Rhodes could stay and retire in WWE. He could do many, many things. Cody Rhodes is very, very smart. Very smart man. Cody Rhodes always knows what to do and say. Always. I wish I was a quarter together as Cody Rhodes. I blame Granny for how I see wrestling and Wrestle Load, or whatever the thing was called. Now, Dave shaped a lot of views, and Dave, to his credit, is always very measured and very thoughtful in what he says. Dave could be a lot, sometimes, because I'm doing a talk show, maybe I'll be less diplomatic because I'm doing a talk show. You gotta have some energy. You've got to have some bite to it. So sometimes I'll be less diplomatic. But Dave is always diplomatic. He's always a good guy. But no one listens to this show. I mean, you do listen to this show, but this show doesn't have Dave's reach, is what I mean to say. So I can be more of a flamethrower, and it doesn't have any consequences. Anything else exciting? I should probably get to It's funny though, we've gotten to the point. I guess it was the same thing with the NWO. Who's jumping this week? Who's jumping? Who's debuting? Where's a debut? Oh well, there's so and so, and then you forget about them next time. So, look, everybody have a great Survivor Series, War Games. I really appreciate you guys being here. I really do. Oh, I know they don't promote me that much, so the fact you guys keep coming back means a lot to me. So I won't take you for granted. And I sincerely mean it from the bottom of my heart that I really appreciate all of you guys and you guys taking enough time to listen and care what I have to say. So, all right. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'll be back because of the fans. Bye. There we go. All right.